Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the new Weird Al album, Weird Al Yankovic. Mandatory fun.
Weird Al, more like Nat.
What?
Well, you just don't get the joke.
Stop, or I will kill you in your sleep. Weird Al is an accordionist. He is the Sultan of satire. He is the Pope of musical parody. I remember loads of this guy's songs from when I was a kid. Like a Surgeon, Eat It, Fat. But then, in the mid and late 90s, that's when I started buying cassettes, and that's when I grabbed a copy of Bad Hair Day. I listened to this tape so many times, it was warped to crap by the time it was broken and just completely unlistenable forever. I listened to this tape so much, I gave up on all my other tapes, and then when I decided to start listening to music like seriously again, it was hard for me to listen to music that didn't have a joke in it. So Weird Al almost ruined my musical taste. Through my tween and early teen years, I continued to have a soft spot for the work of Mr. Yankovic. I enjoyed the older stuff I could dig up. I enjoyed his follow-up record, Running with Scissors, some of his best songs being on this LP, namely The Saga Begins, the Star Wars tribute on this record. However, after Running with Scissors, I sort of found myself falling out of favor with Weird Al. I wasn't really following his career as closely as I used to. From 2001 to 2011, Weird Al did come out with tracks that I thought were good, namely Angry White Boy Polka and White and Nerdy, also a very funny song. But I and many other people who grew up with Weird Al and a new generation that could potentially be listening to Weird Al weren't really tuning into his albums like they used to, and I think there are a lot of external factors going on here. For one, the internet is coming into full swing when it comes to turning people onto new music, and because of that, the hype cycle of new songs, of pop singles, is moving even faster. It seems like more disposable songs than ever are being incredibly hyped, aren't being remembered just a handful of months down the road. By the time Weird Al might do a parody of a song, it's completely out the door and nobody's thinking of it. And on the internet, he is seeing more competition from a new generation of parody artists that are mostly YouTube-based. And on top of all that, I think his last full-length LP, Alpocalypse, was one of his weakest in years. Not only in terms of parody song choice, he parodied a T.I. song I never really liked, Bruno Mars and B.O.B. track that I don't think anybody can remember. And then there's the song Perform This Way, which is maybe one of his least interesting parodies of all time, where he's just merely making fun of the eccentricity of the performances and outfits of Lady Gaga. But the tides have kind of turned with this new record of Al's. I think the stars have really aligned in that we've had a healthy string of legit memorable pop sensations arise over the past few years. Macklemore, Lorde, Daft Punk, Robin Thicke, Iggy Azalea, Gangnam Style, Pharrell. The songs that Al picks are incredibly timely, which is a hard thing to do in the internet age, come out with a timely mix of parody songs of new pop singles, in an era where the pop single landscape is constantly shifting. And Al has been building his stock on the internet too by doing collaborations with YouTube channels like 5 Second Films, Nerdist, and he's come out with a series of really good viral music videos to back up these new songs. And not only are these songs funny, not only are these parodies hilarious to a degree, in my opinion, but Al kind of takes songs like Fancy and actually makes them about something. With his very lighthearted brand of humor, there's a fart here and there, it's absurd, it's silly, and we see Weird Al, if you are a Weird Al fan, if you are familiar with his back catalog, we see him tackling a lot of the same lyrical topics. Food, which we see with Foil, and there's a bit of a conspiracy theorist edge on the latter half of the track too. We see the cartoonish portrayal of a person or profession with Handy. On the song Tacky, Weird Al portrays an incredibly unlikable person, something he has done in song time and time again, and Word Crime's just a total grammar nerd tune. We have Eating with the song Inactive, which is about being just really slothful. Or the song Lame Claim to Fame, which has a lot of lyrics that do make me giggle. It's literally about having a lame claim to fame, like knowing a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who knows Kevin Bacon, or even having the first comment on a YouTube video. Then there's the song Sports Song, very funny tune, marching band instrumentation with a series of lyrics that very verbosely and articulately highlights the inferiority of the opposing team. The song First World Problems is just about first world problems and features a kind of Pixies-esque instrumental and vocal delivery from Al. It's a very funny song. And then there is My Own Eyes, where essentially with a Foo Fighters-esque instrumental, Weird Al kind of talks about these situations or happenings that he sees with his own eyes, he wishes he hadn't, and he kind of uses this opportunity to create mental images such as a preacher stealing a zebra in order to teach that zebra to give him a massage. And then my favorite track on the entire LP is always a highlight for me on a Weird Al album, always. I don't know about you, but my favorite track on a Weird Al album is always the Polka Medley. And with Carly Rae Jepsen and a really great Miley Cyrus rendition right at the start of this polka. They really harmonize the vocals very well on the chorus. Some songs to me, though, on this record, I do think are either not that funny or instrumentally are incredibly obnoxious, like Inactive, where essentially Al is parodying the Imagine Dragons song Radioactive. And that is just such a heavy, epic rock song with a bit of a dubstep wub wub going on in the background, and Weird Al is just so off the mark with this track, production-wise, to the point where it really kind of, I guess, takes me out of the parody. You know, part of the hilarity of a song like Amish Paradise is that right at the start of the song, you're not quite sure which track you're gonna be hearing. Despite all that, the album does finish off pretty strong with the song Jackson Park Express. This is one of those moments where Weird Al finishes an LP off with a very long song, this one being 9 minutes, and consisting entirely of the internal monologue of a man riding a bus who falls totally and madly in love with a woman who comes onto the bus. Like, she comes in and looks at him, and to Al, this mere lock of the eyes for a split second means I love you, I want to be with you forever, so on and so forth. Weird Al is singing all of these really weird romantic acts that she or he will be engaging with, like taking her skin off and wearing it over his own skin, but as he says, not in a creepy way. Overall, I like this LP. I think it's one of Al's best in years. I think it's sort of choppy. It's hit or miss, but the songs on here that are good and are funny are so good this entire record is worth checking out. I do feel a strong 6 to a light 7 on this thing. Not the best score in the world, but I think a lot of these songs prove that Weird Al is still incredibly funny, still incredibly sharp, and can do his job really well if he is timely with the release of parody songs and he brings good choices to the table. Going into the future, I think that Weird Al might be better suited for putting out an EP, or maybe even sticking solely to the internet and dropping parody songs through music videos as they kind of come along, and then maybe down the road doing a compilation, sort of anticipating an entire album of parodies based on songs that might not even be popular when Weird Al ends up dropping the album the parodies are on. I think down the road could hurt his relevancy. I'm not trying to run Al's career, but as a fan of Weird Al, I want to see him stick around. I want to see him make parodies until he's dead. I think the music industry needs a Weird Al Yankovic. And I think playing his marketing by the ear of the internet from now on, where essentially his target demographic, his new potential fan base resides, would do his relevancy justice into the future. Because comedy, especially musical parody, if you're going to be parodying pop songs, you've got to act quickly. Whatever. That's just my thoughts on it. Transition, if you've given this record a listen, what do you think of it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Why? What do you think I should review next? And that's it. Weird Al, mandatory fun forever.